Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel where today we are building the Hunger Games land/ride. Well, we're going to actually be starting the ride, the first scene in the ride. I'm very excited to show you guys what that will be. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. No, seriously, stay tuned because my watch time is drastically low. Just kidding. Just kidding. So yeah, we're just starting off the episode by building this little apartment complex where the citizens, the day-to-day citizens like you and me live. Yeah, so it's just a very plain, I imagine the apartments to be very tight and small with no lights are on. So like imagine this would be like a glass door. And yeah, the lights aren't on in the lobby. The lights aren't on in any of the rooms you'll see I build. And that's intentional because why would a city like this be looking nice to live in for the regular person, not the elite people like, you know, President Snow or the game makers, but what would it look like for a person like you and me? So that's kind of the idea for this building, especially right next to President Snow's house, because I think that says a lot that he'll have people living right next to him that he couldn't give two things about. So yeah, so we're just continuing copying and pasting everything over to the other side to just save me time. Time is important when you're building in this game, especially when I'm trying to put out episodes on a weekly basis, which I started off good and then I fell off because I got sick, and I think I'm doing good. I'm recording this the same day I'm posting this, so that's why I kind of probably sound a little weird or sound like I'm in a different environment, because I am. It is 9:11 a.m. when I'm recording this, and usually I record these at like 10 a.m. or 10 p.m. Yeah, 10 p.m. So usually a recording will last from 10 p.m. to it depends on like how good I'm doing. Like right now I'm trying to do this all in one take. You can tell because usually I'd be talking a lot more and there's a lot more cuts in my voice. Oh, and back to the video. We are starting the ride, and you'll see as I build it. I really struggled to start building this ride because it is such a complicated ride, and I don't know how well, I know how because I do it, but I didn't know how I was gonna do this really or start it off, and it's very tricky with the controls. It's kind of delayed. I've noticed when I'm building, when I tell it to turn or speed up, it's kind of delayed because I have two roller coasters, or two trains going at the same time, and that's intentional too, because realistically there'd probably be at least two going on in this ride, if not more. So that would hold a total of 4 people. So you first off are zigzagging in this dark room, and then you turn around and there's the news people like Caesar Flickerman, I'm pretty sure one of them is called in the Hunger Games, and I don't know the other dude's name, but they're there, except I'm gonna make them different characters because I would actually like to maybe voice one of them, or have someone I know voice them. So that's kind of the deal right now. So I also create this let me back up. So you, after seeing them, you launch up and into this darkness, and then you turn around and then you see the game grounds, except from really high up in the sky. So think of like the ET ride or Peter Pan, where they have those sections of the ride where you're like over the town. I'm pretty much gonna do that maybe in the next episode, maybe not. We'll see if that happens. But I'm actually just starting the first room that I said, where you zigzag across this dark room. I'm actually gonna add the supports there, and then I also add in multiple rooms throughout this ride emergency exits for employees, custodians, things along those lines, just to make it a little bit more realistic. Even though it's so dark in this room, you won't be able to see it. I just think it's important to put in. Yeah, so I am now building the room where the news room is gonna be, building the room where the newsroom is gonna be. So yeah, we're just adding, I add in this little black mister, so it kind of transitions well, because if you didn't know, this ride is in a different park file than the Nicos Studios one, just so I can save some space and make it Nicos Studios bigger and its actual park save. So I extend the newsroom out a little bit, and you'll see I actually make the newsroom floor and kind of add this wood outlining, so it kind of looks like it's like plywood, like how they built newsroom sets in real life. And then I add the pretty basic news stand, because I don't think you would spend that much money when I'm pretty sure all the news scenes in the Hunger Games were just green screened and they just literally filmed it on a regular table like that. So I'm trying to keep it to what I was seeing in the movies and everything. I'm not being lazy, I swear. Anyways, so we're adding in all this detail just to kind of make, and it's not the most detailed room I've ever made. I'm adding more of that outline there, that plywood outline, but it's not the biggest, most detailed room I've ever made. But you're only in this room for 10 seconds, so I'm not really worried about how it's gonna look. But I added in those mannequins, so those are gonna be the quote-unquote animatronics in the ride. It's the best I can do with what I'm given. So I make the skins off camera and everything, and it's gonna be a woman host and a man host, and you'll hear them a few times throughout the ride. I make this little plywood outline. It's just, to make it more realistic to an actual news station, like I said. And I decide that I'm gonna make this news table just brown and white, pretty basic, and I'll add in decals to kind of make this futuristic background, which in my opinion it's like I said, you're only in this room for 10 seconds, so it's not really my biggest priority to make it the most detailed thing you'll see, because there's going to be a lot more detailed scenes, trust me. And I add in this screen where it's gonna have capital TV on it, so maybe this is where the weather guy goes on, and that's where he shows his weather reports for the day. And I continue this little wall design over, just copy and paste it, because I wanted it to kind of continue, or seem like it continued forever in a way. And then we do the same thing with the plywood there. And then we start doing the supports of the ride, and then that will be it for today. You'll see what I mean when I put the screens on. It's just, I looked up futuristic blue background, and I picked one of the ones that seemed the most similar to the one that's in the Caesar Flickerman photo. And then I put it on the roof. I make the lighting. I have to use a sequencer, so I add this little employees only area. It's connected to the other employees only area. And we create the sequence for the ride, which is just a spotlight on the news people. I'm probably going to add a sign right before you see them that says on air. And then you see the news people and they say, "Welcome to the 54th annual Hunger Games," something like that. But yeah, we're coming up on the end of this video. We only have like a minute left. So thank you for watching. I've just finished in the roof here. Thank you for watching. We're going to come up on the cinematics here in 3, 2, 1. Oh my goodness. Look at that fancy building, and look at that. Thank you for watching, and have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.